God put together such a series of events for how I became a nurse and how missions has been intertwined into that journey. When I was in college, I had so many ideas about the path that I wanted my life to take, but then through a series of events, God really showed me the path that He wanted me to take. Part of it was a summer that I spent in college, and I went to Guatemala and worked with a family nurse practitioner there, and then I also volunteered in a NICU, and God really showed me that nursing was the path that He wanted me to take. I've always known from an early age that I wanted to be involved in missions, and God has steadily shaped that over the years from my first view of it when I was 7 and just seeing it as something that people get to go overseas and live in these exotic places and tell people about Jesus. That sounds amazing. To where now I see it as something that God calls you to, whether it's places that people might not necessarily see as safe. I think the safest place that you can be is where God calls you to be. And when He calls you to something and you know in your heart that that's truly Him calling you to it, then it's a simple yes. God gets to use you, and it's been so great to see how God's allowed me to use my career in nursing to be a part of that. One of my favorite parts about all of these trips that I get to take overseas is coming back. And I think what I love about it is getting to share it with my coworkers, because it's important to invest in other people overseas, but also to take what you got to see God do overseas here back in the States, because God says in Acts, that you will be my witnesses here in Jerusalem and Judea and Samaria and to the ends of the earth. And I think He calls us to share who He is here in the U.S. and then in your own sphere of influence, and then to go a little bit beyond that and then to the ends of the earth. And I love getting to share with what I've gotten to see Him do here, because a lot of my coworkers will ask, "Oh, how was your trip?" And they're expecting me to talk about, all of the weird things I got to eat or the things that I got to do and the people that I met. But then I get to bring in, well, this is what I got to see God do. God got to heal this person, or I got to share with this person about who He is, and I got to see them know what love and hope look like, because we get to be His hands and feet. And we get to be that here in the U.S. as well as abroad. But that's what I love, is whenever I get to come home and I get to share with my coworkers about just how much joy that I've received from getting to see His work overseas. He wants us to use the gifts and the skills that He has blessed us with to pour out into others. And one of my favorite verses is from 2 Corinthians, where Paul says, "I will most gladly spend and be spent on others." And I think that's so important for our careers, whether you're an engineer or you're in business or you're a stay-at-home mom. I think He calls us to use all of those to bring glory to His name.